Has Bitcoin potentially met a top? CleanSpark running through all of that intense resistance and continuing on. Mara looking ready to pop here. We'll have a look at that. Also, a new crypto stock. Well, it's not new, but new to us here on the channel that might be ready to run and run hard. Let's take a look at all of that. But before we get going, check out the channel memberships. You get some really great stuff in that stalagmite level, and keep up the subscriptions. If we get to 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year, I will open up these stalagmite posts to all paid tiers through the end of 2025. And if it happens in 2026, I'll open it up for a month in 2026. Go ahead and get that going. Hit the like button, subscribe. Let's get to 10,000. Let's get the video out there. Anyways, let's get started. First, let's look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, why would I say that the run might be over? Partially because you see this yellow line here? That's global liquidity. Look what happened here on October 5th. It peaked and then it starts to come down. And this is global liquidity with all the M2 turned on, We'll look at what that looks like with the M2 off here in a second. But from here, it shows that from October, what was it? 656, it comes down until November 5th. That's what it shows. Now, there's a few things on here that this does not show. The fact that Bitcoin went down while it was going up for a couple of weeks there. It did a little double bottom, started to play catch up. So that catch up would be significantly higher, would be moving significantly higher than the previous all-time high in Bitcoin, and it didn't do that, and global liquidity did. And even with that dip into November, that dip in November on global liquidity just comes back to the previous all-time high that we had on Bitcoin. So that is a little misleading, the fact that it's showing it's coming down through November, because it went significantly higher than the previous all-time high and then only dipped back to it, and we have not gone significantly higher. I think Bitcoin's still catching up. But here's the part that might be a little spooky. If we turn off the M2, and we really shouldn't, but if we turn off the M2, it shows that we peaked back here in July, and then we came with a double top scenario here in October, and then from here it's just selling off. I don't particularly care for this version of it because it doesn't include the M2, and the M2 is pretty important, but that's just something to remember, to keep in the back of your mind. If we see like a rollover here, like if we start trading under $110,000 again, that might be what's happening. So it's not something to panic about, but just something to be, oh, okay, I know that that's happening, and I'll look for signs of if that could be the case. Okay, that's all. Okay, CleanSpark. Look at the CleanSpark. All right, you're gonna love this. Look at this. Look to the right. Now look to the left. What did we cut through? Like a hot knife through butter. All of this awfulness over here that we went through in 2024. We cut through all of it. If we can clear $20, like $21, if we can clear $21, that's it. There are no more sellers in the way of CleanSpark. And CleanSpark is free to run. How? And run where, you ask? Well, let's see. Currently, we are running a market cap of 5.3 billion. I'm thinking this thing is probably going to hit at least 2/3 of IREN in terms of market cap, which is currently trading at 16. Yeah, okay, 30% of that. We're about there right now. I'm thinking a little more than that. 2/3, sorry. So we'd be looking at about 10 billion, maybe a double up from where we are now. So that'd be about $40. I wouldn't be surprised to see CleanSpark trading at about $40, or about, 2/3 of IREN, which would be about $40. If CleanSpark goes to $40, you better believe these warrants are going to be way more than $1.64 here in the future. It's already up 5% in the pre-market. What did I tell you about this little space here? That we were going to pop up to 74. We closed above 74, so we've got room to 82. 82 is the first area I'm going to start thinking things could maybe like come back down before going higher again. But I am looking at a very similar trajectory that I saw on the Cypher warrants before they ran up to like $6-7, where it hung out on this trend line that was down at the bottom, and then just launched from its straight parabolic. That's what I'm looking for on those bad boys. I've got several thousand of these. I've got right now 21,000 of these, and I'm looking for them to hit a high level there on. That would be pretty exciting, I think. Mara is also one I'm looking to pop now. I'm looking at Mara to pop. Why? Because we got this nice cup here, right? It gave us a little shakeout, and then it continued on with the cup formation. Not really breaking it. Now, we could come down a little bit, but I don't know if we're going to. I think we might get that fake out moment. We're holding above, 1980. We're holding above that, currently holding above 20. And honestly, Mara is sitting on something like 50,000 Bitcoin. It's got a $7 billion market cap. I think that could match IREN easily, so it could double from here. This one could hit 40, 50 bucks as well. I would not be surprised to see that, especially, look at this thing. We got this big cup here, which is feeding into this, and we're right at the neckline. Right now, we're at the neckline. What happens after that? Usually explosion. That's what we're looking for on that. Now, let's go look at the momentum indicators for higher time frames. You can see it's green on green on green. RSI is not overbought on the weekly. The stochastics are pointing up. The BX trender is pointing up. We had a huge volume node last week, and we're holding above that volume. That is huge news. Also, look at this volume spike on the right. We're holding above that. We're basically getting towards having an area with clear sky above us. Let's take a look at the monthly. Same thing on the monthly. We just went green on the monthly. Look at that. Oh, 2 months in a row we're green now. So this could go on for another 2-3 months where we get green on green on green. Last time that happened was back here in November 2023, and it went from as soon as it turned green, it went from about $11 quickly up to 31 in that same month. And then, 2 months later, it was up at 34. Let's go look at 2021. How did that look? This is when it ran in March. So let's take a look at that. It was already green, so it just ran. Wild. So we know what this thing can do when it turns green. And especially once it breaks through this trend line up here, that's really going to just launch it into the stratosphere. So I am looking at potentially taking some positions on Mara, re-entering some positions I had sold on Mara that were up. I'm going to start going for that final push positioning here on Mara. Okay. All these other ones are looking pretty good. Bitfarms is actually really surprising. Look at this. Look at this. Bitfarms just keeps going. Look at that. Look at that bad boy. It hit my box with perfection. Look at that. Pre-market hit my box with perfection. I think this thing could easily go into the 5s. I'm going to continue to hold my Bitfarms for now. Soluna did 40% yesterday. That was pretty amazing. And it is currently pushing up again here. I think Soluna is going to be an insane sleeper. I also think has potential to hit $2, maybe even more in this final push. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm not surprised that we came to where we came, which is just the bottom of this structure right here. And if we can push above that, honestly, we can push to 240. Once we're above 240, it's kind of clear sky a little bit until we get to the next previous high. Now, let's talk about the last one I wanted to talk about. So again, I'm going to preface everything with this is the time that is the hardest. This is going to be the most challenging part. We're going to be holding on to rockets, and we got to remember to know when to let go of those rockets. So if you don't have an exit strategy, honestly, just stop watching the video right now. Go make your exit strategy, and then come back and finish it when you're done. Do your exit strategy. Know when you're going to exit. Know why you would exit, either to the upside or the downside. Have both scenarios, not only upside scenarios, have up and downside scenarios. Know exactly what conditions you will leave this at, because we are getting towards the end of this push, and it's going to be real important that you know how to exit, because if you don't know how to exit, it doesn't matter how much money you made on the way up. Okay, so pay attention to all that. And of course, nothing I say is financial advice, not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. You got to do your own research, come to your own conclusions, and be responsible for your own risk. Let's talk about this insane thing that I found. Okay, GRIBF. I think I've talked about this on the channel before, actually. It's an OTC stock. So it's crazy high risk. It's not even on any exchanges, really. And it trades for almost 5 cents. Okay, almost 5 cents. It's been basing down here between 5 cents and 2 cents for a really long time. Okay, real crypto degenerate here. And when it runs, in 2024, it ran from doing a very similar formation. It ran from under 1 cent all the way up to 53 cents. Now, that's huge. That's a big move. Right now, that would be a 10x from where we currently are. So if you put in $1,000, you'd be 10x higher than that. That'd be pretty exciting. Okay. How about in 2020? What did it do in 2021? All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look. What did it do in 2021? Let me turn off All drawings and indicators. No, let's just hide the indicators. What did it do in 2021? Oh, look at this line down here. It's going through the exact same space here, right? Boom. And in November 2020, it started basing out a little bit higher. And then in January 2021, it popped from, so it went from where it currently is right now, actually a little lower, about 3-4 cents, popped up to between a range of 16 to 41 cents, and then it popped up from a range from $1.30 to $2.31, and then in 2 days, it went from $1.52 on that falling wedge there, the little falling triangle, up to $10. Can you imagine driving 4 cents in March 2020 and in 11 months later pushing that up to $10? Can you imagine that? So we might be looking at something like that right now. Now, will it go that far again? I have no idea. I have no idea what it's going to do. It could go to zero. That's why this I wouldn't put anything I couldn't lose into this thing. This is a lottery ticket. This is worse than any of the lottery tickets I've ever talked about before. But it's a lottery ticket. And I'm very interested in this. And I think I might pick up a few shares of this. Will I buy a lot? No, absolutely not. I'm not going to buy a lot. I might buy a few thousand of these, which at 4 cents would be like $40 per thousand. So, $40 per thousand. Okay, I can lose, I don't know, let's say I could lose $80. It's 2,000. If that goes up to $10 per share, that is insane. $20,000 for $80. That's nuts. And if it goes to absolute zero, I don't care. It's $80. I don't care. So anyways, we do need to look at this. So it's got a $5 million market cap. So that means this thing could double, triple, quadruple, fly to the sky easy. Average volume on a day is 12,000. No. Average volume in a day is 9,000. 9,000. Keep that in mind. If you've got 20, 30,000 of these, you're not dumping it in a day. If you were to try to dump it in a day, you would completely crash the stock. So keep that in mind as well. Don't go buying hundreds of thousands of these things thinking you're going to dump them at the top, because look at the average volume per day is 9,000. You're not getting more than 9,000 of these things traded in a day without completely crashing the stock. Okay, so keep that in mind. Let's go look at let's go and look at, okay, so let me bring this down and let's go look at 2021. That's some crazy high volume days. Let's go look at the highest volume days, which is back here. Okay, how much was this trading on that day? How many shares traded going into that? So going into that, we had 87,000, 85,000, 171,000 on its highest volume day ever. It only had 325,000 trade in a day. Okay, that's it. And that's where it ran from $2.52 to $10 in one day. Okay, only 300,000. So if you had 500,000 of these, you couldn't offload a lot of them. You couldn't offload almost 200,000 shares of them without crashing the stock. And look what happened immediately after. It just crashed the stock. Okay, so don't get crazy on these things. Like, look, 35,000, 45,000, 50. I would not have more than like 30% at most. Like if I were going to go ham on this thing, I would not have more than a third of the volume when it was trading in this space here. So I wouldn't have more than like a third of like that 35,000. I wouldn't have more than like 10,000. Otherwise, even on the highest volume day ever, I would have a hard time selling even that amount. Well, maybe not 10,000, but I'd have a hard time selling more than that without starting to see the stock crash. So keep that in mind for this thing. Don't go crazy. This is a penny stock. This is a gamble. This is not like an investment of any type. This is 100% gambling. Anyways, it's trading at 4 cents right now. It has potential to hit $10. I mean, honestly, it's done it before last halving. It did it. Could do it again, maybe. It's trading for $5 million. Cry BF. Don't go out YOLOing everything into it. Remember what I said about volume. Of course, nothing I say is financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. You've got to do your own research. You've got to come to your own conclusions. You've got to be responsible for your own risk, because investing is risky and you could lose it all. All right, that's all I've got for you today, but go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, share this video. Those things do so much to help grow the channel, and we want to grow. Check out the channel memberships. If we get to 10,000 subscribers before the end of 2025, I'm going to open up these stalagmite posts to all paid tiers, and if it happens in 2026, I'll open it up for a month. And with that said, have a profitable day.